Hi, matricians. It's June, and June's supposed to be the half of the year of 2026. The whole crypto industry, however, is encountering kinds of depression. You can see the price of Bitcoin drop significantly, even for under 60,000. Everyone, no matter it's developers, the project owners or investors, etc. Okay, seeing this, but still working hard to kind of keep up with the trend and to kind of still keep building what should be built. And Matrix is one of those who keep building as usual since 2017. All right, so in this AMA, I don't want to take too much time from Owen and also from you. Today I think we got 6 questions, and these 6 questions surrounding the bio data, and one is about the wallet. And I would like to start with the first one with our CEO, Mr. Wen Tao. And the first question comes from Emoji13. That Emoji is one of our hardcore supporters for the AMAs. I can see his questions or her questions every month and got selected, and which is the hard work of his or her brain work, because he really dive deep into materials that we have and also what we have been working on in terms of our data. So Emo's question is about how can bio data collected through the portable or simplified pH-Lite devices to be used to comprehensively assess sleep architecture, diagnosis sleep disorders, and monitor treatment efficacy. And what are the key limitations and advantage compared to in-lab PSG? All right, for the later part, the second part of the question, I believe you read our tweet, because we do have a tweet compare before and after. When we do introduce the pH-Lite in the Hypnos project. All right, so I pass the time to Owen for his insight on your question. Thanks, Emoji, and thanks, Owen.
好的。首先呢 PSG Lite 本身也是一个就是在标准实验室的这个 PSG 的基础上嘛，把它做了一个优化的一个检测设备的这样一个标准，然后以及对它进行相应的这个数据的一些改善吧。它其实核心的目标其实是在保证这个核心睡眠的指标可行的基础上实现这个便携性。比如说目标是像你可以在家里长期的去监测可以降低你监测的成本，从而来广泛的去对睡眠进行评估这样的。在 PSG Lite 里呢，它其实也会采集很多睡眠的核心数据，比如说像 EEG 那么这个 EEG 的在标记睡眠模型的中的主要的功能就是去对睡眠的分期进行一个标注包括像眼电，那么是来判断你是不是在一个快速眼动的这样一个睡眠过程中，还有包括肌电，那你睡觉的时候的这个状态怎么样的。然后通过这些完整的数据之后呢，其实那么 PSG Lite 也是可以构建一个就是一个完整的模型来评估一个用户的一个睡眠结构的。对，那么 PSG Lite 比较擅长的，比如说像这个睡眠的呼吸暂停失眠等等，在这些方面它的这个监测以及判断标的准确度都是非常高的。那么关于这个 PSG Lite 与 PSG 相比呢，其实我个人是做过这个 PSG 的这个监测的，因为我有这个睡眠是呼吸暂停的问题。就是首先呢，就是我个人认为 PSG Lite 它相对于 PSG 最大的好处呢，就是它可以让人就是真的能睡着，然后睡着这点是非常重要的，然后这样才能采到更加真实可信的一个数据。就是我去带 PSG 的时候，在医院的，然后身上要就是 就是搭了很多点位的这个电采集器嘛。然后当时我感觉我一晚上就是没有怎么睡着，所以呢，那个数据其实虽然就是采集的点位很多，但其实我觉得不能真正的反映我的一个睡眠的一个状况。对，然后后来呢，就是那么医院又给了我一个 PSG Lite 的一套，那么就采集点位少很多，但是我让我在家里做，那么我一个礼拜的一个睡眠情况，那么其实可能也有那么1-2天睡得不好，就带上这些东西，但是大部分时间还是 OK 的。所以呢，就是 PSG Lite 我认为相对于 PSG 的这个比较重要的一个优势，就是说它让用户他的睡眠的状态会更舒适一些，在这种情况下，它采集到的数据也会更好一些，对，也会更好一些。那么对于一些不是特别大的一些问题来说的话，那 PSG Lite 它从这个对用户的这个睡眠分析来说，可能反而它的这个准确度这方面都会高于 PSG， 这是我的一个切身的感受啊。而且你想在家里用，长期使用的话 ，PSG Lite 肯定是一个更好选择。那么相对 PSG 它肯定也有它的问题。那么其实最大的问题就是说，PSG 它采集的点位更多，收集的数据更多，那么它的这个数据的准确性、完整性这些方面比这个 PSG Lite 是要更好的。然后包括一些特殊的一些数据 PSG Lite 是采集不到的。所以说从整个这个就是完整的这个睡眠分析结构来说， PSG 肯定是一个更准确、更全面的一个方案。对，但是对于我们日常使用来说，包括我们提高这个用户睡眠质量，从而保证这个数据真实性来说，我认为 PSG Lite 也有它的优势啊，这是我的一个想法。
OK， thanks Owen。想不到陶总也有亲身的这个 PSG 跟 PSG Lite 的这个经验，也可以给到 Hibbers 他们相关的这些反馈，看他们怎么去优化这个睡眠有问题的、有障碍的这些人，怎么能够将来使用他们的 PSG Lite 也可以用在这个 ergonomics 上面啊。Okay, second question from Crypto Burak X, and again Crypto Burak, thanks for your submission. I think your question got submitted again for June AMA, and as usual, right? Thanks Crypto Burak, and also thanks to Emosh. All right. What types of biological data do you think AI companies will demand most now and also in future? And why? So 3 sub-questions. Now, future, and why? What are the most needed biological data by the AI companies? Yeah, thank you, Owen. Over to you.
对，我认为未来 AI 公司在生物数据方面呢，它其实，我认为它需要的数据是两种吧。第一个是从质量角度来说，我觉得 AI 公司更需要的是一个就是长期就是一个连续性周期的生物数据，这个我认为是非常重要的。然后第二是高质量，就是数据是真实的，包括就是像我刚才提到的 PSG Lite 和 PSG 来比的话，那就是我一个真实能睡着的这个数据比我睡不着的一个 PSG 数据是更重要的。然后第三个就是可标注的这样一个生物数据。那么这类数据来说的话，其实对于这个可穿戴式设备来采到数据，我可能认为可能会非常好的来满足这样的一个标准，就是我们认为就是 AI 需要一个长期连续同时高质量这样一个数据。然后另外一方面，我认为 AI 需要的是一种因为我们未来 AI 的发展方向的一些方面，可能我们会在某种程度上会对人类去做一些模拟，除了健康以外那么认为这种多模态的生物数据的融合，我认为是非常重要的。那么它这个数据呢，它不是一个单一维度的数据，它需要用户很多层面数据，我的这个血压，我的心率，我的这个脑电，我的这个视觉注意力等等等等，这个综合的数据就是来建成一个人完整的一个生物数据的维度。我认为对于这个 AI 来说是更好的生物数据。那么一方面呢，就是对于从这个未来去做健康方面的这个产品来说，我认为这个是很好的。另外一方面，包括未来对人的一些模拟来说，有这种完整的这种多模态的这种融合性的生物数据，我认为也是一个更高效的一个方向吧。
right, thanks, Alvin. So the more dimension that we can collect from the biological data, the better that AI can be used to train and for different models and for different scenarios. And one scenario that can think of on top of what Alvin just mentioned is, okay, you can group different patients of different bio data into kinds of simulation on web, and then you can put different pressure points or different scenarios to see what's the reactions to those kinds of simulation or people with different kinds of performance in terms of our data. All right, and then get their responses, and then they can get to some conclusion. Just like some hackathons, they can kinds of get people simulated and kinds of get the response when it comes to polling. And for example, the elections, they can see what kinds of reaction when they publish their policies, things like that. So this is another kinds of scenario that we can use to train the AI and to get the reactions from these simulations. All right. So that second question comes from Richard. Would it be great if hipless device could be purchased by paying men? Is this on the agenda? Yeah. Possible, I think, but let's see what Alvin can share with us. Alvin, please.
OK， 我认为这个不是一个问题，这个可能在未来也是我们会上线的一个方式。这个我们先就是全力把这个 Hypnos 的这个项目，我们在配合他们的商业工作上线之后，我们会开放使用。就是我们有这个计划，我们会开放一个窗口，让用户用慢来购买这个 Hypnos 的设备。当然 ，Hypnos 他们也会开放其他的一些这个通道来购买 Hypnos 设备。但是我们这边是会开放这个可以用慢来买 Hypnos 的设备的。我就认为这不是一个问题
啊。买或者是质押 man 去换行嘛？
对 ，OK，
也可以，
我觉得都可以啊。对。
Yeah, Richard, what I just spoke with Owen is on top of paying with men, it can be also possible that people can stack men up to a certain amount and then get Hypnos devices for free. That is something on the agenda, and we're looking at kinds of a collaboration with Hypnos. But when it comes to the right time, we will get to more information. But right now, I see the progress from Hypnos in terms of development, and then we can get to that. Okay, the next question comes from Zaken, our head of community. Will Matrix and Hypnos add a level system for users to encourage better data collections and provide better tasks and rewards through experience points, a system that rewards winning and achievements. Also, I've seen several data platforms being gamified. Are you considering gamification? Good. I think those are in white paper, there are some touches on it, probably not so in great details, and that's why it's going to have that question. And I think this question to be better answered by Hypnos, but let's see what Alvin in mind from Matrix perspective. Alright, over to you, Alvin. Thank you.
好的，我认为这是一个非常好的一个建议，对，就是除了就是在让未来在 bio data 的升级的过程中，除了让就是通过这个正向激励之外的话，我认为就是除了这个激励，就是单纯的经济激励以外的话，可能在上面增加一些游戏性，我认为也是一个比较好的方式。那么可能它会增加用户的一些荣誉感、成就感，同时有利于这个用社交化的方式向外去传播，吸引更多的用户来参与到这个平台中，将他们的这个生物数据来分享出来。同时现在的很多可穿戴的设备都有一些像的一些社交的功能，比如说一些手环、手表，它们之间可能有一些碰一碰的来进行交友的一些功能，包括我们相信 Hypnos Band 的未来它上面也会它相当于这个 app 中应该也会增加一些社交的功能，所以呢，就是我认为这是一个很好的建议，就是我们未来会考虑在这个 bio data 中 去增加一些这种游戏性的一些玩法，那么让用户在这个上传分享他们的生物数据中，同时也会有一个比较愉快的体验。我觉得这是一个很好的建议，这个我们会考虑啊。
Okay. So Ken, a good question. We can relay your suggestion to Hibbles and see if they can incorporate, and if they can incorporate, at what stage they will incorporate your suggestions. Thanks, Ken. All right. Jerry, we have Jerry again. Thank you, Jerry. Hello, team. As the value of biodata asset increases, liquidity will also become more important. In this context, do you have an interoperability for biodata RWAs created on Matrix to be usable and licensed on different chains or third-party platforms in the future? Good question. It's about the ecosystem expansion. Okay, good. Owen, do you have any insights to share with Jerry? Thank you.
OK， 就是未来，其实对于这些用户数据，我们会提供这种标准化的一些 API 来供这个第三方的这个应用来进行调用。对，当然就是如果你是一个符合 API 标准的这个应用的话，其实如果是你建立在其他的第三方平台以及这个其他 blockchain 上，我想也是 OK 的。对，我们会提供这样的一个就是一个开放的接口来让用户来使用这相应的数据。当然就是如果是你在其他的 blockchain 上和直接在 Matrix 上去使用的话，我相信权限应该会有些差异，但是这个可行性我觉得是可以的。
Yeah, I think the more people that can get involved, no matter just the data contributors, but also the people who can use this data, would help the whole ecosystem development. Yeah, so yeah, that's a good suggestion, Jerry. The last question comes from Reynoldo. All right, hopefully I pronounce your name correctly. Hi, when can we expect the Web3 wallet? I think this will come a little bit before Hibbles goes live. When do you plan to introduce it? Thanks. Yeah, Owen. Over to you, Owen. Thank you.
好的，就是我们的新的一款的这个钱包未来肯定会包括这个用户的他在包括个人这个生物数据资产的一些管理以及权限的这个分配这方面。对，这个我们目前还在这个设计中，那么未来的话应该会在这个我们新主网上线之后，然后来开放这个功能，这是我们目前的一个计划。
Thank you. So speak of the wallet, and I think we have a suggestion come from the one of the magicians who have been loyal and supportive in terms of the validation logs, etc. And he's very good at the UI. And let's see how we can collaborate together on this Web3 wallet in future. I'm not saying that we will definitely get help from this magician, but I know you are from a very kind perspective that help us to kind of optimize the UI for the users of the web wallet, and thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. So these are the 6 questions that we selected for the June AMA. Before I end this AMA, yeah, it's a very tough time right now. We are here and we understand you. Matrix since 2017 have been through 3 cycles. 3 cycles is not easy because most of these projects will go vanish, and we're still here. No matter whether it's up or whether it's down, we are here. We are here not just being quiet. We are here to kind of innovate ourselves, like what you can see doing for the biodata. Time will reward, and just keep holding. Thank you very much, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.